Yeah. Okay, so we wall jumped through this door on the left side. There's a couple different things you can do here, but the idea is we want to get through this door, right? So you can either do 2 wall jumps there and do a late jump through the door, or you can do a wall jump off this platform on the left here. I found this platform on the left to be a little bit faster when I was testing it in my splice. It's a 247, 246, but that was a bad jump. 249. $244. So yeah, can also, like, you can do a down grab here, but it's kind of hard to do. I usually just do a ledge grab with like a shot. Like basically you get to the point where you're over the corner, and then you shoot, and when you shoot, Samus's hitbox will extend down, so it's effectively a ledge grab. And then you want to do a late jump through this room. Now, depending on where you start your dash, Samus's jump speed into this room will be higher or lower. So notice here, we barely cleared that corner there. Thank you for the gift sub, Sassy. But there we actually went quite a bit above it. So that can alter how this next room goes a little bit. Just keep that in mind. If you notice that you jumped a little bit too early here, you're gonna bonk like that. But what you can do, if I can do it on purpose, you can hold aim down. And that will either help you clear the corner, or you can hold aim down and left. Sorry, not left through the door. You can hold aim down and then turn left and then back to the right. And that will buffer your speed so that you can make it up. Okay. It's just like a door wiggle, basically, except you're going up instead. But yeah, so what you want to do coming into this next room, as long as you got the jump, you want to shoot up as you're coming up over this corner, not too early, and then you want to do some quick wall jumps up. You want these to be kind of big wall jumps so that you can get through this door without having to do another wall jump, like this. And if it looks like you might not make it, you can extend your hitbox, and that will sometimes get you what you need to get up through. Okay. You want to go through the middle of this door, because if you wall jump off the right and go through the right of the door, you're gonna have a bad transition. Okay. So that's why you want to do the bigger wall jumps and go through the middle of the door. Really not much else to say about that room. If you miss the jump, just try and get up quickly, because if you're not fast enough, this fish will get in your way. Or like if you fall down here, that can be really bad, because now the fish is definitely going to be in our way and we have to wait. Okay. So honestly, like it's better to just take the room a little bit slower, like delay your shot, etc., than it is to fall down. Rosu, thank you for the host, man. All right, this room is really easy. And I mean that 100%. You want to do a one-tap short charge. What that means is just don't hold dash the whole time, or else you're going to end up in an awkward spot. So you just want to start running a little bit and then push dash. Hold R. Charge your Shine Spark once you get there. Continue holding R. Jump up. We'll press jump. And you'll get up to the corner of the room. Okay. Sometimes you're going to end up here with basically no health. It doesn't happen very often, but let's say, you know, you go into the Kraid fight with 80 health and then he drops you no health whatsoever. So you're coming out with 80 health. You don't want to Shine Spark in that situation because either one, you're not going to have enough HP to make it up to the corner of the room, but two, you don't want to get into Batuun's room in a position where you're going to take a one-hit KO. So if you get in here with less health, the best thing you can probably do is hold a charge shot. Do not do an X Factor. Hold a charge shot, okay? And just jump up here. Align yourself with this corner right here. And then you want to hold dash, and what I do is I run until I reach this position in the background. You can see these things. I was actually looking at these yesterday. I have no idea what they are. They're like these triangular structures though, right? You want to jump as you're passing that that one right here. The reason we're doing a charge shot is so that we can pseudo screw through that dude. We wall jump here. And then you can just jump up like this and go through. It is quite a bit slower. It's a few seconds slower than the Shine Spark method, but it's not that bad. It's like 2.5 or 3 seconds slower, and it can save your run. So definitely learn this backup. Shine Spark up here, hold angle down, shoot the door, run through, and you want to hold shoot going through this door too. And that will make Samus shoot out this middle block. You just want to do a short hop, short spin jump hop here. Fall down through. Select your supers, run, jump, mock through the door. This shot and mock ball is kind of hard. Really, you want to run as much as you can, and this is actually one situation where you don't want to arm pump too much, because you can actually save quite a few frames with the extra speed if you do it correctly. But yeah, don't stress about it too much. Just keep in mind you do need to jump for this super. If you don't jump, you're gonna Kojak like that. Okay. You also can just hit the ceiling. That's not a big deal. It's a little slower, but if you need power bombs or health, you can drop down here quickly and then shoot both of these crabs with a super, like this. Okay. So yeah, just keep in mind you can get power bombs or health from these crabs. Oops. And then we want to select power bombs coming into this next room. Okay, this room sucks. It doesn't suck because it's hard, it sucks because the snails. I'm sorry, Clipper. I know you love the snails. Here, we'll play soccer for a minute to make you happy. Okay. Yay, snails. Snails. Okay, so depending on what the snails are doing, you're gonna have a ton more or a ton less lag. You don't feel the sincerity. Well, if you watch me practice Watch Woon RTA, you'll understand why. But, if we lay the power bomb immediately after coming in, and then we roll to the end of the platform, and then roll back, and then roll forward, we can significantly reduce the lag. So that was a 53. 57. We're just looking at lag frames right now. 59. Okay. Whereas if we just lay the power bomb and then try and get through here as quickly as possible without doing any of that manipulation stuff, this is a 76. 72. Anyway, the reason the lag varies so much in this room is because of the snails. They move globally depending on what Samus is doing. So right now I'm facing a snail. All right. So he's like, "Oh, hey, dude." But yeah, depending on whether you're facing like towards them or away from them, they'll change their behavior. So I think, like, technically, we could bait this guy around the room. Anyway, so you want to lay the power bomb, roll to the edge of the platform, and then roll back. And then go, okay? Now there's a couple different ways you can drop down through these. I think technically fastest is to do that sort of thing where you wiggle and then remorph. Like this. But as long as you're not like just landing on them and waiting, that's the main thing you want to avoid. So you can like time your fall. Or you can just do like a wiggle, fall like this. There's generally going to be less lag if you're in morph. Other than that, not a lot to say about this room. You just want to wall jump up this right here, and then jump through this door. If you time your jump right, you can do this cool little like weave thing up into the door, like this, without bonking. But you can also just like land here and then jump through. All right, and then this next room sucks even more because it's really complex and hard to do fast. But I'll do my best to explain it. So first of all, this room is kind of like a maze. There are a lot of different blocks that break, but only one set will get us through. I think that's everything. These are crumble blocks that only go one way unless you clip through them. These are speed blocks. These were speed blocks, but I just ran through accidentally. Let's see. So basically what we need to do, you need to get up onto here, all right, and then you need to fall through this crumble block. You can do that quickly if you do a quick drop through it. And then you want to shoot these two sets of blocks. All right. And then what I do here is I do a spin jump as I'm coming down here, and I try to land kind of on the left here. That's not super important. The most important thing is that you shoot out these blocks as you are doing a short charge through, so that you can get to these speed blocks over here. So I piano this room to do that. You can either do a non-stutter 3-tap to get through these speed blocks here, which is technically fastest. I think you might even be able to do a 2-tap. Yeah, you can. Or you can do a stutter 2-tap or a stutter 1-tap. They're both good. The main thing is it's really easy to lose time, like trying to make sure that you're setting up correctly. And there's a lot going on in this room all at once. So this is one of those rooms that when I was doing the splice took me multiple hours. I think the best time I ever got on it was a 5:09. And I want to say Jack got like a 4:59 or something. So, yeah. There's a really swag strat you can do. It involves shooting the door and jumping and like doing an aim down through like that. And that strat's really freaking cool, but it gives us a really crappy door transition that isn't as optimal as just getting a clean ledge grab up onto the corner like this and running through. So that's what we want to do. Okay. If you're struggling with the short charge, you can like shoot these and then come back this way. There's not necessarily anything wrong with that, it's just a little slower. Okay. Time for this douchebag. I use an audio cue for this. And I'll try and explain that. Batoon has 4 different patterns. You'll want to familiarize yourself with all of the patterns. Anyway, we want to hit Batoon with an X Factor as he's coming out of this hole. He's always going to come out of this top left hole every single time. So the easiest way for me, in my opinion, to do that is with the audio cue. So what I do, I drop in and I turn left, okay? And I immediately crouch. And then on the 4th note, 1, 2, 3, 4, I shoot. You want power bomb selected here, by the way. And then you want to turn around. And this is going to change from person to person. Oh, on the 5th note of the 2nd round, that's when you want to jump up. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And the main thing about that is just that you don't want to do a full jump, or you'll end up too high. Okay, I think You can technically do like a 6th note or something like that if you want. But you still kind of need to time it a little bit. The main thing is just that you want to find a setup for this that is consistent for you. Now, if you pay attention, you'll notice that you can hear every single X Factor hit Batoon. So he makes this little grunt noise when he gets hit. And when all 4 X Factors hit him, he makes 4 of those little grunt noises. So if you only hit him with 1, you're only going to hear 1. Or that time we only hit him with 2, so we only heard 2. Turn this up just a little bit, just in case. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. Next up, after I hit him with the X Factor, I run over kind of to this line, either to the right or the left of this line, and you want to have super selected. And then depending on the pattern, you're going to hit him with supers in different ways. Okay. That particular pattern was the easiest pattern. Screwed that up. But as long as you hit him with all 4 X Factor particles, you're going to end up only needing to hit him with 6 supers. And here's the thing, Batoon's hitbox is really dumb. And sometimes you're going to hit him in a way that looks like it totally should hit, but it doesn't. I'm surprised all 3 of those hit. The only way to guarantee that he's going to take every single hit is to kind of hit him like in the nose. Or to kind of stick your gun like inside of his head with iframes and shoot him that way. That's the worst pattern. Yeah, okay, so we can go over these patterns one by one, I think. All right, so this first one, like I mentioned, this is the worst pattern. The main thing that you want to do is just try to focus on getting your first 3 in. And then you want to jump and take damage so that you can get your last 3 in. Like that. Okay. That's the easiest way to handle that pattern, to be honest. If you don't have the health to deal with it, you can, like, try and run over to the left side and hit him that way. But again, his hitbox kind of sucks. We're taking damage anyway. But yeah, also notice I'm reloading in sets of 2, and that's because the music is going to toggle every other time. So if you do practice with the audio cue, that's just what you're gonna have to do. Not sure if there's much else to say about this pattern. Oops. You might notice that I'm actually jumping on my third shot there. And then I'm taking advantage of the knockback and hitting him again on my way down. So the knockback is like hitting me up. So I'm letting it like help me hang in the air a little bit. That's not what I did that time. That's just kind of a, like, you don't have to do it that way, obviously, but it is a strategy to keep yourself in position for this particular pattern. Also, if you jump on the third shot, you're less likely to get screwed by the hitbox. Like that. Okay? So usually you're gonna have 8 supers here. When you're leaving Kraid, you want to have a minimum of 8 supers so that by the time you get here, you have at least 6 to deal with Botwoon. Okay. So like I said, this pattern's kind of free. You want to do straight shots until the very last one. And then you want to do an angle up shot. And apparently if you're in the wrong position or shooting too slowly, you'll get screwed by a hitbox, so don't do that. Two more patterns, and then I'll talk about some backups. So this one isn't quite as free, but it is still a lot easier than the first one that we showed. Sometimes that's going to happen. You just need to be prepared to hit him as he's moving into the right hole. It's important that you kind of familiarize yourself with, wow, Botwoon's trajectory on all of these, so that you can predict kind of where he's going to go. He's gonna disappear into this hole, by the way, when he finishes that pattern. Sorry if I'm not being descriptive enough on these. Kind of struggling to think of like what to say. It's honestly a lot easier to just show. But this is probably the second hardest pattern. But it's still not too bad. Again, you basically always want to plan on taking at least one hit during this fight. So, keeping that in mind, once you take that hit, you just want to abuse those iframes to hit Botwoon with as many supers as you can. Yeah, you want to stop right around here. This line right here, either to the left or the right of it. Well, thanks. Okay. So a couple more things. One, when you have these iframes, you don't want to dilly-dally along inside of Batoon, because you can get multiple hitboxes connecting with you when you're taking damage. So I think you can have like up to 4 hitboxes hitting you all at the same time, and that's a lot of damage. It's like 100 and something damage even with Gravity Suit. So just keep that in mind. You don't want to just sit inside Batoon the entire time when you have iframes. Basically, you want to hit him with as many supers as you can during those iframes, while still being mindful of when you need to get out of the way. So like, you definitely don't want to do that sort of a thing. The other thing, like, okay, let's say that we get in here with 6 supers, all right? And we bonk one of them, or we miss our X factor or something, okay? All right, Batoon has 300 damage left now. So we need to hit him as quickly as possible, but also, if we came in here with like a small amount of health, we want to be safe during that, right? You can stand in this corner, and he'll literally never be able to hit you. The only time he can hit you when you're in this corner is if he does his green spitball move thing. And he stops doing that once you get him below a certain HP threshold. So we can sit here literally forever, and he's never going to hit us. Keeping that in mind, you can either like try and hit him with missiles like this, okay? Or what I personally would do and have done. Oh no, we bonked. Just kind of stand here and spam charge shots like this. A wave beam charge shot is going to do 150 damage. So in this situation, 2 of these shots kills him. Oh no, we whiffed like a bunch of supers. So honestly, yeah, like just sit here, spam charge shots like this. And he'll go down. And you're not in any danger. It's slower, obviously, but basically the only time you should ever die in this fight is if you can't take a single hit and you do, or you can only take 1 hit and then you just accidentally didn't manage your iframes properly, which has happened to me before. One other thing to keep in mind, even after Batoon is dead, his body will still damage you. His head will not, though, okay? So you don't want to, like, you don't want to run into him as his body is, like, falling on the ground. Anyway, don't, like, run into his body. Just kind of wait here in the back corner after he's dead. And then the other thing is you want to make sure that you're not leaving the room too quickly. I'll show why. Good night, Alpha. Okay, so if we leave the room too fast here, notice the music didn't stop. We come back in, and he's still here. Okay. So, the game doesn't actually set Batoon as dead until the music changes. It's right here. Notice it changes into the item room music. That change happens once this wall finishes despawning. So if you manage to get out too fast, the game will consider him still alive. And in PRKD, you're actually going to come back this way. So that's a problem. If you do come out of the room and you realize, like, oh no, the music didn't change. Shoot, music didn't change. On your way back, you're just going to want to come down. So you'll be coming back through this room, going left after Dragon. You'll want to come down through this sand pit right here. And then just come left out this way. And that's what you'll need to do. Okay. Alright, I think that's everything I have to say about Batoon. Coming into this next room, you just kind of want to land on this corner here. It's not super specific or anything. But you want to land on the corner and then run through the door. And then you want to hold shoot coming out of the door. What will happen is you'll hit this eel. And then you want to hold angle up, which I do with the D-pad. You want to shoot that first one again, and then these next two. And then after this third eel right here, that's when you want to jump. It's kind of when Samus reaches the sand here. So the ground changes from rock to sand. You want to jump. You want to aim down, bonk the ceiling, and then time your morph as you go into the hole. It looks really hard, and I'm not going to say that it's free or anything, but getting this mock ball into this hole is not. It's not nearly as hard as it is swaggy, so it's definitely worth trying for. And it's fast. If you do happen to miss, the one thing I will say, naturally, your natural reaction to missing is that you want to turn around, okay, so that you can try and jump back up. Oh no! Right, so you can try and jump back up to get in the hole. If Samus is in the middle of a turnaround animation when she enters sand, remember turnaround animations are uninterruptible frames. She's just going to sink all the way through. Okay? So be very careful with that, or else you could end up basically falling all the way down into the transition. Generally, you're going to be like morphed. Okay? And like, you'll bonk or whatever. Oh crap. So like, shouldn't be too much of an issue. Just try to make sure that you're not turning as you enter the sand. Jump back up, morph, get in the hole. I say as I like almost fall in. Okay. And then assuming that you have a decent amount of missiles, which you almost always will here, as you're grabbing this energy tank, you want to do a single-use missile select. You want to missile this guy, and then while holding angle down, you shoot the other two eels with their second wave shot each. Assuming you didn't miss. So missile, wave, wave, collect the drops, and then do a short charge back across here. Okay. As long as Samus is blue, she's not going to fall into the sand here. But if she's not blue, she will. Okay. So it's very important that you give yourself enough space that you can get a speed booster here. If you're not very good at short charging, there's nothing wrong with moving farther left and then coming back this way, okay? You want to shoot as you're passing the right side of this sand pit. Right here. Sometimes that will cause a little lag. But it's gonna open the door every single time. And that's the main thing. If you need to farm for items here, basically what you want to do is kind of want to jump into this sand pit. You want to shoot these guys until they give you what you need. And then to get out of sand pits, the best thing you can do is a series of spin jumps while moving forward. Okay. So you want to be walking forward. There's no reason to hold dash because it won't do anything. Okay. You want to be walking forward and doing short jumps like this. If you end up against a wall, notice that's not taking us up anymore. So you need to turn around. And that will help you get back up, okay? If you do end up against a wall, like you can do like taller jumps. But honestly, your best bet is just to turn around. Like this. Okay. Yeah, so like farm what you need. And then in this particular situation, what I would do is I just spin jump to the left and then back to the right. Shoot, and then do a short charge out of the room. Alright, full happy. By the way, you want at least 2 supers leaving this room if at all possible. But you need a minimum of 1. So we'll say 3. Okay. Here's the thing about full happy. I can't teach you any secrets to getting just a full happy. But I can teach you what will give you more or less of a chance at getting it done. So I set the info HUD to show our Shine Spark timer. You have 180 frames to do a Shine Spark after charging it, okay? That's 3 seconds. So keeping that in mind, we want to get through this room in under 3 seconds if possible. Also keep in mind, we're not actually charging our Shine Spark until about the right side over here. You kind of want to press down, like above these set of spikes with like those pipes underneath. That's kind of where I press down. And then if you do the right kind of a dash jump here, you'll get a little bit more vertical speed initially. Okay, so if we get out of this room with at least, I think it was 10 or 11 frames minimum, we can pull off the full halfie. The secret to doing that, honestly, is not in more wall jumps or less wall jumps or a later Shine Spark charge versus an earlier Shine Spark charge. Like, obviously some situations are going to be easier than others, but the thing that's going to help you the most with this is releasing jump for the minimum number of frames between your wall jumps. All right. The minimum number of frames that you need to release jump between your wall jumps is 1 frame. So keep that in mind. Like, it's not like you ever actually need to, like, consciously let go of jump and then repress jump in order to do a wall jump. What I do when I'm going for, like, really fast wall jumps, I wonder if there's, like, a good way for me to show this. I don't actually take my thumb off the button, ever. My thumb stays on the plastic the entire time. I can try and zoom in here. I kind of like do this weird like shifty thing where basically the idea is I want the contact to have a break on the PCB just enough that it stops registering a press so that I can repress it. But it's not like I'm not like consciously like repressing jump like this. You know what I mean? Like I leave my thumb on the button the entire time. You just kind of want to like shift it back and forth. And that'll get you multiple presses. I haven't had my freaking input viewer on this entire time. I'm sorry, Clippy. They're still in the top left, thankfully, because of the practice ROM being awesome. But yeah, basically, so yeah, if you run your thumb back and forth across the button, you're going to notice like the contact there is breaking repeatedly, even though I'm never actually like lifting up my thumb. So that's kind of how I handle like fast wall jumps. If I know that I like need to do wall jumps really fast, full halfie being one of them. The problem is if you do it quote unquote too well, then the contact's not going to break, obviously, and that's going to be a problem. So that's honestly that's the secret to full halfie, is releasing jump for the minimum number of frames between your wall jumps, because every single frame that you are not holding jump on a wall jump, Samus is falling, okay? Which means that it's going to take you longer to get up through the room. And then once you get to the top, I should talk about this too. You're going to want to shoot as you're coming up over these last grapple tiles, like just as you get over them, and then immediately do a down grab. It's not required, but getting a clean down grab here is going to help you have a chance to get your Shine Spark off in the next room immensely. This was actually the first place that I started down grabbing anywhere in all of Super Metroid, and I'm not going to pretend that like I was super good at it at first. Like I was doing more of like that kind of a thing for a while, where like Oops. I would like come up over the lip and then run through like that. But yeah, okay. Coming into this next room, you have a few options to get this shine spark off. Really, it's just two. You have two different options to do it the right way. And by the way, if you notice that like your wall jumps weren't good enough for the full halfie, like let's say like you miss a wall jump like this, you can still get a halfie off by just activating your shine spark before the door, like this. And that's still going to save you some time. Okay. All right. So, here's a really cool thing about the full halfie. You can actually activate your shine spark bonking this corner here and still get it. See that? Like I definitely bonked the corner there, but I'm still getting the full halfie. So don't be afraid of jumping too early here. Like you don't need to like specifically make sure that you jump out and clear over here, okay? The thing that you need to watch out for is you want to make sure that you're not holding R and then pressing jump, or you're going to do a diagonal. Of course, you can try and get around that by pressing up instead. However, if you're still holding jump in that situation, you're going to goop spark up. This is one of the few situations where I wouldn't blame someone if they were, for example, deciding to press up to activate their spark. Because then there's no chance. There's no chance that you're going to hold the up input for too long, as long as you're not holding jump the entire time and you're consciously rolling back over to the right. But yeah, just like with any other horizontal shine spark, the main thing is that you need to be holding forward and then press jump in order to do a horizontal shine spark, okay? So that's why it gets kind of tricky. But if I were to break down these inputs, when you enter the room, you want to tap jump. Not like a one-frame tap or anything, but you don't want to hold it, okay? You don't want to, like, hold it. Then you want to press R. Not hold it, just press R. You're holding right this entire time. And then after you press R, you press jump again. So it's basically jump, R, jump. Jump, R, jump. If you do happen to bonk here, you can aim down and get a down grab here if you're high enough. If you don't try and do that and you just hold forward, you're just going to fall straight down. There are some situations where you're just going to be too low too. Like this is just too low. Okay. There's also, so this would technically be the optimal way to do the room, with this really high shine spark where Samus is actually like kind of cutting through the ceiling like that with her shoulder, because then you're not going to land on this up here. But the thing is, if you do it any higher than that, you're going to bonk this piece of the ceiling right here, which is really bad. This is a quarter halfie. And then basically you're just doing the entire room anyway. So, in fact, I'm pretty sure that's a quarter halfie is slower than just not doing it at all. So, But yeah, if I were recommending an approach to this room, it would be to jump immediately coming out of the door. Don't worry about the corner. Tap R, repress jump. Okay. And go on through. Alright, now let's say that we don't get the full halfie. Alright, let's say that we don't have enough Shine Spark frames. Or we miss a wall jump, or, you know, whatever. This room does suck. I'm not going to say it doesn't suck, because this room does suck. A lot. But if you know what you're doing, if you have a clear path through the room, it's not as bad. So you want to jump here. You can either do like a mock ball, okay? Or you can just jump and then run and like jump again. Or jump and run off. Whatever's most comfortable for you. I usually do the mock ball. Maybe you fall, okay? And in that situation, you just want to get over to the right and climb up that wall as quickly as possible, alright? I think technically... That's not this one. Yeah, okay. Okay, so we get up this wall, alright? And you want to jump over. You just want to run off of this one and aim down. Assuming you get a good ledge grab here. What that will do is it will put Samus back on the spike. Oops. Of course, if you miss it, just wall jump up. The same sand rules apply here as they did anywhere else. Try not to turn into the sand, etc. Aim down, land on the spike, jump back up. You want to do a short hop here, and then as you reach this waterfall, you want to turn around in your spin jump, land on this set of spikes, and then do a delayed deboost. What I mean by that is you want to make sure that you're not holding forward when you hit these spikes, so that Samus will boost upward first. Then you press back, you land on this next set of spikes. Okay? You turn around, you do another wall jump, you jump down. Hit this door with the super. You can farm this guy and hope he gives you a super if you want. And really, that's the whole room. It does suck, but like I said, if you have a plan coming through it, it's not as bad. If you do happen to fall down in that last segment, like let's say that you do the deboost wrong, oops, you just want to do kind of a delayed wall jump off this wall. You want to do it like below this line right here, and then do another wall jump up. And then jump down. Okay. Coming into this room, you actually want to have supers equipped. And then this is very important. So the fastest way through this next room is to do Moonfall. But if you try and do a Moonfall when you have supers equipped, you're gonna shoot a super. You don't want that, right? So hold shoot through the door transition, and then just immediately turn around, do a Moonfall like this. Hey, you're welcome. You want to align with this piece of the wall right here, holding left, fall straight down, and then hit the eye door with your super. Okay. Last thing, this transition looks optimal, Like that door looks like it's almost in the middle of the room, right? It's not quite. You can tell it's a little low here. It's never going to be perfect from what I remember, but you can save a couple of frames on it. If you jump and aim down and land. Oh, it is perfect. It's just longer because it's a music transition. But yeah, if we don't do that, gosh dang it, that screen scroll, we're gonna get a longer transition. I think it's like 60 frames or 60 frames or something instead of 57. So yeah, when you shoot the eye door while you're waiting for it to despawn, just do a short hop, aim down, and then when it's done despawning, shoot the door and run through. Okay. Okay, we're not going to talk about Dragon today because it's pretty late and I've been going for a couple hours, few hours. And I could explain Dragon, but I feel like I'll do a much better job of it tomorrow. Nope, we jump and aim down to fix the transition.